Hey everybody, DeLongshot Signatures here. This is a autograph binder recap that I'm going to share with you guys. The NCAA football season will be starting up, I think, this Saturday with week 0, and we'll be ramping up from there. This is probably the collection that I've had growing the fastest in the past calendar year. Last year when I did a video, I'm pretty sure it was just one binder. It is now almost 2 full binders of college football head coaches. There's a couple of assistant coaches in here, but mainly head coaches. So I want to share that with you with a 2-part installment. We'll get started here with the A through J binder, but just kind of talking about the collection in general. As far as I know, for all of the NCAA and NAIA recognized schools and coaches, I have 263 total. Not all of them are going to be in here. Some of them are former players that I had signed cards that are now coaching or have coached, but I didn't get them on photos. I think I got like a book signed by a former Purdue coach, Joe Tiller. He had passed away a few years ago, so I never got him through the mail, but I was able to find a book of his for pretty cheap. But just about all of them are in here. But 263 total coaches. Their combined win-loss record is 21,461 wins, 13,964 losses, and 177 ties between all of them at all the different levels. 552 bowl wins, 90 total championships. I have 31 College Hall of Fame head coaches. There is one who was inducted as a player, but I believe they had enough of a, coaching supremacy in their career to be recognized by the College Football Hall of Fame, because I don't think that they will re-recognize people as both a player and as a coach. At least as far as I know, I haven't seen that. So we can talk about that when we get there. But we'll start off here with a couple of signed business cards that I've received. First one is Purdue head coach Jeff Brom. I did send some photos to him to get signed. I never got those back. Then we have Central Arkansas head coach Nathan Brown. And then 2 from Sam Houston State Bearcats head coach Casey Keeler. I am not going to remember every single school that these guys have coached at or that they are currently coaching with, so just bear with me on that. But first one here, Adam Dorrell, who is now with the University of Central Oklahoma. He also included a hat in that return. This is former head coach Al Golden. Used to get some of these via email or a contact page on the school's website. Then we have Andy Avalos of Boise State. Mainly just send my own photos now. Hall of Famer Andy Talley. He was inducted in 2020. Barry Alvarez, inducted in 2010. This was a purchase on eBay. Won the auction for 75 cents, plus I think $3 shipping, so definitely worth it. Former head coach Barry Odom. He's still an active coach, looking to get another, I think he's looking to get another head coaching role. Bernard Clark. He's an active coach, I think, at Robert Morris. And if you collect the 90 Pro set for football, sorry about that, my cat was being weird. But if you are collecting the 1990 NFL Pro set, he has a card in that set. Former Tulsa head coach Bill Blankenship. Bill, I think it's Burgess. He is a 3-time Division III champion, or Division II, I don't remember which one. Another one from him. Former head coach Bill Cronin. He's up there in the all-time wins list. He retired after this past season. Bill Curry, former Alabama head coach. Some of these guys sign on the back. I'm not a big fan of that because it makes it not as fun to display, but I understand it. This one is from Bill McCartney, Hall of Fame in 2013. He won a national championship with Colorado in the 90s. Signed both of those on the back. We have Hall of Famer with Kansas State, Bill Snyder. He was inducted in 2015. Utah State head coach Blake Anderson. Some of them also include greeting cards, so those usually get returned signed as well, or at least a nice note, and then I'll have a couple pages dedicated to them. Holy Cross head coach Bob Chesney. Former, I think, Marshall head coach Bob Pruitt. Hall of Fame head coach Bob Stoops. He was inducted in 2021. He came back to Oklahoma to coach their bowl game this year, winning that. And I think he's still involved with the XFL as a head coach, which their second iteration with Vince McMahon before it got shut down due to COVID. That's where I sent to get this. Bob Sutton. That's actually a picture of him with an NFL team, so I'm going to need to move that. The late Bobby Bowden, who was inducted in 2006. Got this about a year before he passed away. I also have a book that's signed by him. That was a really good read. I really enjoyed that. He passed away last year in 2021. Bobby Hawk of Montana. Bobby Wallace, another guy who I believe has some Division II titles, maybe just one. Brandon Streeter is an assistant coach with Clemson, but he was also a former quarterback of theirs, so that was the main reason I got him. But Dabo Swinney does a pretty good job of promoting his guys and getting them head coaching roles elsewhere. Brent Pease, got him for my college football collection, college football quarterback collection, but I could only find photos of him as a coach, so got those. He has not been a head coach as far as I know. Brent Thompson of the Citadel. Brett Bielema of Illinois. Bronco Mendenhall, got him a few years ago via email. Brian Harsin of Auburn. Bubba Schweigert, something like that. I'm going to move this slightly. Buddy Tevens, Dartmouth. Butch Davis, who I believe also coached at the NFL level. He was with FIU until he was let go after this past season. Cam Cameron, he coached IU at the collegiate level, but was really well known for the work that he did as an assistant coach with LSU. Chad Lunsford of Georgia Southern. I think he's since been let go. Chad Morris, former Arkansas head coach. Chris Creighton of Eastern Michigan. Chris Hatcher of Samford. Chris Kleeman of Kansas State. He won 3 or 4 FCS national championships with North Dakota State. Chris Merritt. These photos were of when he was with his high school team, coaching them. He was really, really successful there, which led to his promotion into the college ranks. He's the head coach for Bryant, now that I see the greeting card. Chris Willis. You got Chuck Pryor. Don't remember where he coaches. Clarence McKinney, Texas Southern, I believe. Clark Lee of Vanderbilt. Included this nice 8x10 of his own. Clay Helton, originally sent to him at USC, never heard back, and I think he's the new Georgia Southern head coach, so I sent there and got those. Clay Hendricks, Colby Carthel of Stephen F. Austin, I think. Dabo Sweeney, got that several years ago. Dale Lindsey of San Diego. He also included some signed index cards of his own. Dan Curran of Merrimack. Dan Simrel, he's a former head coach. I got a full signature with the greeting card, and he just simply wrote Dan on that photo. Got a couple of Dana Holgerson, now I think he's the Houston head coach. Or is that Mike Leach? I don't remember. Hall of Famer Danny Ford. He won a national championship with Clemson back in the day. He was inducted in 2017. Former Delaware head coach Danny Rocco. Wake Forest head coach Dave Clawson. NC State Dave Doran. Former Pitt head coach Dave Wannstedt, who also had a stint as an NFL head coach. Maybe 2 stints. Former Duke coach David Cutcliffe. This is David Dean, who I think has a Division II championship. Looks like Western Georgia. Yeah, West Georgia. Dean Hood. This one came back recently. I don't remember where I sent that. Delane Fitzgerald signed the note, and I think he signed the back of the photos as well. Yeah. This one didn't stick as well. Dennis Erickson, Hall of Fame 2019. I tried getting him when he was with the AAF, never heard back. I'm pretty sure there's a home address out there now where he signs pretty frequently. Dennis Francione, I think is how I've heard it pronounced. He has an arguably Hall of Fame career. Be interesting to see whether he makes it in. Dino Babers. Dino Babers? I don't know. Syracuse. I did have to fill out a NCAA compliance form. Most teams don't really do that all that much. At least I think they're supposed to, but I've only had it happen like 2 or 3 times. But at least I got the item. Don Brown, who I think is back coaching UMass. Don Morton, signed on the back. Doug Phillips of Youngstown State. Ed Orgeron, former LSU head coach, won a national championship with them. Wonder where he'll end up next. Hall of Famer Fisher DeBerry, longtime Air Force head coach. He also coached college baseball for I think a year. But he signed both of my photos and included a nice note as well. Here's the other one. Frank Beamer, former Virginia Tech head coach, inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2018. I got this one via email back when he was the head coach there. Obviously has since retired. I think he's still involved with the program, but I don't know if he signs through there anymore. Another Hall of Famer, Frank Signetti Sr. I believe his son coaches as well. He was the longtime head coach of Indiana University of Pennsylvania and signed both of those and included a nice note as well. Hall of Famer Frank Girardi, inducted in 2016. Frank Selfo. Frank Solich, formerly of Ohio. I think right after I got him, he suddenly retired, and I was able to get his replacement too. Fred Goldsmith, signed as Coach G. Just got this back the other day. Fred McNair of Alcorn State. Longtime TCU head coach Gary Patterson. He left after this past season. He's an assistant coach or an advisor somewhere. I think maybe Texas. Hall of Fame head coach Gene Stallings. Looks like I tried to write Hall of Fame of 2010. Jeff Collins of Georgia Tech. Jerry DiNardo, former LSU and Indiana head coach. Jerry Faust, formerly of Notre Dame. Signed a couple photos. G.J. Kinney, former NFL quarterback. I don't think he got any regular season playing time, but he is the new head coach for Incarnate Word. Glenn Caruso, looks like St. Thomas of Minnesota. Gus Malzahn. So the first time I got Gus Malzahn, thought it was authentic, got it from Auburn, received a second photo later on from them by mistake. Turns out they were giving out auto pens, so I really didn't feel comfortable with writing to him, thinking that I was going to get an auto pen again. I also had bad luck with UCF in the past, trying to get their former head coach Josh Heupel. So I had disdain for for Auburn and for UCF. And then funny enough, their three newest head coaches all signed for me. So just because they don't sign it at one place doesn't mean that they won't sign at another. I found that out. But got him via UCF. He didn't sign my photos, but I'll take a pre-signed photo anytime. Hugh Freeze, I think he's with Liberty now. Jack Bicknell Sr., I couldn't find any photos of him when he was a college head coach, but he was part of the World Football Pro Set back in the day, so got those. Jack Harbaugh, father of John and Jim. He also has I think he has an FCS championship. Jake Dickert, who's now the Washington State head coach. Jamie Chadwell of Coastal Carolina. Jason Candle of Toledo. Jason Eck, I want to say South Dakota, but I could be totally wrong with that. No, he was hired somewhere else. He's not the head coach there. Jay Norvell, who is the Nevada head coach still, I think. Or did he move? Jeff Devaney of Trinity of Connecticut in Division III. He's got a bunch of wins. He's got a very high winning percentage, so that's the main reason I sent to him. Signed those on the back. Jeff Monken of Army. Signed one. Jeff Scott, he's now the South Florida head coach. Jeff Tedford, got him his first tenure with Fresno State. He was let go, and then with the departure of Kalen DeBoer, he was brought back in. He's also their former quarterback. Jeff Traylor of UTSA. Jerry Burnt, think of Rice and maybe Duke. Signed both of those. Jerry Kill, got this via email during his time at Minnesota. He was then the interim coach for TCU this past year, and I think he's the new head coach for New Mexico State. Jerry Moore, Hall of Famer, 2014. Looks like he has 3 national championships with Appalachian State, so that should be FCS. Jim Donnan, Hall of Fame Georgia Bulldog head coach, inducted in 2009. Jim L. Mora, who is the new UConn head coach. Jim Parody of... where does he coach? I think it's Marist that he coaches at. Hall of Famer Jim Tressel. He has the very unique distinction of winning an FCS and FBS championship. He won with Youngstown State in FCS and Ohio State for the FBS. Very few coaches are able to do that, so definitely an awesome Hall of Famer to have. Joe Conlon, I think that's from Fordham. Joe Moorhead, I know he just recently got hired. I think he's the new Akron head coach. Joe Walton, who has since passed away, got him for my NFL head coaches collection. He also happened to coach at Robert Morris University. He passed away in 2021. John Bunting, former North Carolina head coach. John Cooper, Hall of Famer 2008 for Ohio State. John Grass, he was a longtime Jacksonville State head coach, and then he left there to join the Clemson coaching staff, which is where I sent to get this. John Makovich, another guy who I got for my NFL head coaching collection, but he also coached at Texas University. John Stiegelmeier, I think this is the guy that coaches South Dakota. John Riston, he has a Division II championship, I think. CSU Pueblo. Johnny Majors, he passed away a couple of years ago in 2020. So he is a college football Hall of Famer as a halfback during his playing days, and then with his tenure as a head coach, he won a national championship with Pittsburgh. He was a long-time head coach for Tennessee. Very, very accomplished, and honestly, his resume stacks up really well with others that are in the College Football Hall of Fame. The only thing that would hold him back is that he didn't have a 600 winning percentage, which is a requirement. I think he had like a 540, something like that. But he, as far as like his total career, like it lines up with other Hall of Famers. And I think that having an absolute bare minimum requirement for winning percentage and stuff like that is unnecessary. It really limits, who can make it in and prevents people that probably deserve it. So he is counted as a Hall of Famer in my collection, but he is not officially recognized as a College Football Hall of Fame head coach. John Sumrall. Who did he? I do not remember who he is with now. Jordan Stevens. Josh Conklin. Josh Heupel, who is now the Tennessee head coach. June Jones. I think he coached either the XFL or AAF, which is where I got him. And he's also a former NFL quarterback. As you can see, he coached SMU. Josh Fuente? I screw up these names so much. Former Virginia Tech head coach. So that is it for this binder. Going to release, this is as of August 22nd, by the way. Recording this a few days early. Going to have it premiere, leading into the college football start of the season. But let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this gives you guys some ideas on who to send to, and I'm going to record the second part now. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. Best luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.